Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Undisputed Heavyweight Champion of the World show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is Football and Nonsense. Happy Wednesday to you, Fan Nation. Always great to be here on a Wednesday, talk with you all. The midpoint of the week where we like to check in and we do one last look back at the weekend that was. And now we begin a look ahead at the week that will be. And this week proves to be, well, I shouldn't say proves. Nothing's ever proven until, well, it's proven. But this week tries to promise to be, because even the promises don't always live up to the expectations. So it's going to try to promise to deliver a fantastic weekend of football. The return of Aaron Rodgers, that's right, Aaron, back under center for the Green Bay Packers. Rejoice, Pack! Rejoice, Pack Nation. You have earned this. Is that the right term for you guys? Pack Nation? I always forget. I don't know if I think Aaron Rodgers referred to you guys as Packerland when he said relax, and then last year he ran the table, shoveled his own snow. What's it going to be this year? That's what I'm curious about, because as I mentioned last night on the show, there are so many teams that aren't even in the hunt. They're in the playoff picture right now, 3 games to go. And you can just look around and you can pick out a handful of teams from both conferences that will not be in the playoff picture once that picture is finalized. They're going to be on the outside looking in, watching the playoffs from home. And it baffles me that there can be teams in that position that all they have to do is win another game or two, and deal is done. They're in, right? Seeding is what it is. Division title is what it is. What matters is getting in. And you could say, okay, Buffalo Bills. All you got to do is win 2 of your next 3 games, and you're in. And they'll lose all 3. Where with the Packers, you go, if you win all 3, and if the Seahawks lose, or if the Vikings lose, or tie, or if Detroit loses, there's like a list of things that need to happen outside of their control. Somehow Aaron Rodgers is just like, hold my beer, and they do it. It's the magic of Lambeau. It's the magic of the Packers. It's incredible. Think back the last 4 seasons, how many times that has had to happen. The stars had to perfectly align in order for the Packers to get in, and they got in. Aaron Rodgers last year, we're going to run the table. And they did it. There are teams like the Redskins or the Bills or the Dolphins that they can't win one game to clinch to save their life against a team that isn't even, in it. And that, yeah, it's mind-blowing. Sorry, my phone was not on silent. My apologies for that. But good news is, though, there's a handy-dandy ignore button. Tonight's show, got a great one for you. Coach Ty Lynk of the West Michigan Ironmen will be making his debut on the show. Very excited to have him on. We're going to talk some more indoor football. That's been the theme the last couple of weeks because as the IFL schedule has already been released, and the NAL schedule will be released later this week. 'Tis the season, right? This is the time that we start to get to know coaches, players. We count it down because the second that the NFL season has wrapped up, I mean, you have the playoffs and then the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl, but sports takes a giant just sort of timeout, a big timeout, because springtime can be the best time, but there's still like a brief waiting period before we get to all the fun things that happen in the springtime. March Madness, they're still February. The baseball first pitch or whatever they call it. Still got to wait till spring. So after the NFL season concludes, we're going to need stuff to talk about. So that's what we're doing right now. So I'm excited to have him on the show. First timer. We're going to talk about the West Michigan Ironmen as well as the Indoor Football League. And so with that, let's go ahead and get through today's headlines. And the headlines are, Aaron Rodgers is back. He will be back against the Carolina Panthers. And I think that's great for them. I really do. This game, there's been a lot of talk today. Should the Packers let Aaron Rodgers play? If they lose to Carolina, should he continue to play? And the way I see it is this. One, he's a competitor. Okay, he wants to be out there. He feels like he gives his team the best chance at winning. And in all honesty, he does. So why not have him out there? Secondly, if something is going to happen, it might as well be out on the football field. Too many times we have seen players get hurt from doing non-football related stuff. I mean, Jamal Charles got hurt because he was moving furniture. So you don't want to have a guy that is your guy basically get cleared by doctors. He's fired up. He's ready to compete. He knows what's at stake. He knows what needs to be done. And he's done it before. And you keep him on the sidelines, and then he gets hurt. I don't even know how. I don't. But you don't want that to be the case where he injures himself or even re-injures himself because he was doing something not football because you wouldn't let him play football. So, like Captain Ron says, whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen out there. Truer words were never spoken, and it's so relevant to this right now. So, should Aaron Rodgers play this week against the Panthers? Yes. Should he play the rest of the season? Hell yeah. Why not? You know what you have in Brett Hundley now. Trade bait, bargaining chip. I don't know. Possibly. But the point is that Aaron Rodgers gives you the best chance at winning. And when everybody thought that you were out, you could be in. You could. Slim chances. I think there was a thing on Instagram from NFL of all the percentages of teams making the playoffs. Obviously, the Steelers and the Eagles, 100% chance because they have clinched their division. Now they wait and see what seed they will get, And then the next teams, I think, in order were the Vikings with some ridiculous amount. I'm going to find it here because I'm curious now. But it was a great thing to have as far as the, to put it in perspective, the percentages for them making the postseason. So let's see here what we've got. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so Eagles 100% they're in. Steelers 100% they're in. They both clinched their division. Patriots, it says 100%, but they haven't clinched. Vikings 99.9. Jaguars 98.2. Saints 93.6. Rams 89.1. Panthers 78.9. Titans 76.3. Chargers 66.7. Ravens 65.3. Seahawks 64.7. Chiefs 61.2. Falcons 47.7. Bills 28.9. Dolphins 22.2. Cowboys 9.8. Lions 8.7. Packers 7.5. And the Raiders 1.1% to make the playoffs. And I got to tell you, even though their percentage of making it is less than 10, I give Green Bay a better shot at making it than some that are over 30 or 40%. Because that's the power of Green Bay. That's the power of Aaron, right? It is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it is crazy to think about the man and what he does for that team. And this, I think, goes to prove how much the quarterback position matters beyond just a skill position. Look at the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo. They believe in this kid, and they are rallying behind him. I think they're going to make it 3 in a row this week. I really do. I think the 49ers are going to go and beat the Titans. Jimmy Garoppolo, 3 in a row with the Niners, 5-0 as a starter. Why not? And I do think it's worth pointing out that I made the playoffs in 2 of the 6 fantasy leagues that I was in. However, Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers, 2-0 the last 2 weeks. I was 0-2. Yeah. I lost the last game of the regular season, and so that put me as a 5 seed instead of a number 1 seed. And then I lost the next round by less than a point. Thanks, Gostowski. He made the list yesterday, in case you missed that.
You just made the list!
And then the other one, I lost, back to back. So, the age-old question, which is more important, your team winning or your team winning? Oh, this one's tough. Because it's really tough. But that's all right. That's okay. I'm go Niners, right? Saints running back Alvin Kamara, who left Thursday night's game against the Atlanta Falcons with a concussion, told reporters today that he is good to go and he's going to play. I don't know if that means that he actually will or if he actually is. Or if he actually is and he actually will, because last I heard it wasn't really up to the player. You had to get medically cleared. So I guess more on that to come. Bruce Arians said he has no idea if running back Adrian Peterson will recover from his neck injury to play again this season. And I don't really think that makes a huge difference for the Cardinals. They're sitting at that 500 mark, just trying to salvage what's left of their season. Let's see here, what else? Patriots did sign wide receiver Kenny Britt and defensive lineman Ricky Jean-Francois, who's released linebacker Jonathan Freeney and wide receiver Bernard Reedy, and also placed offensive lineman Marcus Cannon on injured reserve. Let's see if there's any other good tidbits from today's headlines. Not really. There hasn't been a whole lot. Raw and SmackDown happened. Check in with my WWE fans out there. I thank you for listening. Raw was meh. SmackDown was meh. But hey, when one doesn't have a pay-per-view this month, and the other, this is the week leading up to it, it's going to be subpar. It's going to be 2-3 stars at best. Hideo Itami is supposed to be making his debut on 205 Live, which I feel like that's underutilizing a talent like Hideo Itami. But who knows what he'll do in 205, if he'll springboard into the main roster and compete at a higher level. I'd love to see that. I think he's a competitor. It's funny to think that, Bobby Roode and Hideo Itami had this rivalry in NXT for the NXT title. Bobby Roode's in a triple threat against Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin for the U.S. title this weekend. Hideo Itami is about to go to 205 Live to face probably Enzo Amore. My life comes at you fast, doesn't it? Now, as far as everything else, Shield, Braun Strowman versus Kane, it's just, Raw is treading water so bad right now, so bad. Kane versus Braun Strowman, the winner will go on to face Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. I wonder who's going to win that? Oh, man. Clash of Champions should be okay. I'm not holding high hopes for it. I think it'll be all right. But these end-of-the-year pay-per-views are ones that I really wish somebody still had their briefcase. And I know Carmella does, but my point is that it was always the opportunity to really shake things up for the new year. It always got me excited, but Baron Corbin had to go and do Baron Corbin things. So Clash of Champions this weekend. We might touch a bit more on it at the end of the show. Butt Fumble Award will have to wait till tomorrow. I forgot to put the poll up today. My apologies. So with that, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. I will bring on Coach Ty Lynk, and we will discuss all things indoor football and West Michigan Ironmen after this.
This is The Sheet.
Gets me all revved up. My face is now red. My ears are just freaking boiling.
He's so raw. That Scott hates him.
Yeah, he had 51 touchdowns, 4,900 total yards.
I know y'all like that, but I got to run. And only in Alabama that could happen, I have to say.
They're so good, man. They would win the Big Ten if they were in the Big Ten.
You could be doing something vision-based in front of you and reach down and grab a handful of insane goodness.
Give it to him. Kudos. I'm clapping like a golfer. Very good, Johnny. I'm proud of you.
Wow. You guys agree on something again? I'm very impressed. You ever had a bad week? Just you walk outside, step in a puddle, like right when you walk outside. I mean, how's there a puddle right outside the house? Or you stand on the curb and somebody drives by and splashes water up on you? Or it's just raining on you, not anyone else?
I will tell you, before you go any further, I cannot hear Chad when he speaks. Good.
Here, listen to the sheet, man. I don't really know what we're doing.
Every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on WBLZ Sports.
Whether it be your industrial, commercial, or residential needs, Gen Service is the electrical contractor for you. The Gen Service team has the expertise, commitment, and educational years to help you solve all your electrical concerns. They have you in their best interest with helpful suggestions to accommodate your every want. Give them a call, no matter the size of the job, at 740-438-7173. Mention WBLZ Sports, and you'll get a discount. That's Gen Service, 740-438-7173.
This is Nick Ciccarelli, the mad scientist of sports. Join me and Dr. D, Derek Jones, live every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific, for the Mad Scientist Sports Lab. The big intellect, the experiments on the chalkboard, and the guest subjects will be rolling in. Mad Scientist Sports Lab, only on WBLZ Sports, where we got balls.
Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. He has over 30 years of painting experience. He's interior, exterior, commercial, or residential. Doug Peffer covers it all. Is your house looking ugh? We'll call on Doug. Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. 404-966-3361. Mention WBLZ Sports and get a special We've Got Balls discount. That's Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. 404-966-3361.
Check out Thursday Night Tailgate, where NFL legends live on. We bring you 5 NFL legends every week, sharing their stories and insights, plus our spotlight on the positive. Hear which players are doing great things in their communities. Now on WBLZ Sports Talk Radio and WBLZSports.com.
All right, Fan Nation, we are back, and joining me, making his debut on the Fan Show, is the head coach of the West Michigan Ironmen of the Indoor Football League, Ty Lynk. Welcome, Coach. How you doing?
I'm great. Appreciate you having me and looking forward to the conversation.
Oh, yes. This is one of my favorite times of the year, the get-to-know-you segments to the coaches that I have yet to meet. And, of course, I'm an indoor and arena football enthusiast, so the countdown, I pay close attention. It's marked on the calendar. I tick away the days, and, once football season ends, a whole new one begins, and I would like to, Fan Show officially welcome you to the Indoor Football League.
Well, it's an exciting time for us, getting an opportunity to play in such a historic league, in my opinion, with some great coaches and great players.
Yeah, and, Indoor Football League was my first hand at, indoor football. Of course, Spokane had the shock back in the day with the arena and the AF2 leagues, but it wasn't until they rebranded and jumped to the IFL that I decided to actually, follow and pay close attention. And it's been, very surprising in the best ways. I've loved every minute of it. I've got to meet some amazing people and travel to some great places. And you guys are bringing with you your rivals, the Bloomington Edge. I just talked to Coach Nick Rude earlier, and he's very excited for the opportunity. What was the ultimate decision to come from the CIF to the IFL?
Well, it was a matter of, we were all hoping at one point that the two would merge, because I think, both have great products.
Yes.
And we kind of sat back and, when time was passing through, and there were some decisions that had to be made. We looked at the overall structure of teams like in Arizona and Sioux Falls, and not to mention Nebraska and Iowa. And those names are just names I grew up, kind of watching on the AFL level as well. So it was just a good time and a good move for us, and we like to challenge ourselves.
Yeah, and, not to get too far into it just because it's in the past and nothing's going to change now. Maybe something happens this offseason. But the fans, they want a merger because they want to see the best quality product and the best competition out there. And I heard so many rumors from reliable sources about just how close the merge got. But the same thing kept coming back, that it was the wrong people were involved in the conversation. As a coach that's now been in both leagues, in your mind, what would be the ideal situation that you believe could honestly make this merger happen if you were to set it up yourself?
Well, isn't that a great question? I mean, that's $1 million question, I think. I mean, it's one of those things, if I could sit inside the room and kind of make it happen, I'm sure me along with a lot of other people would love to have that be. It really comes down to everybody having their views and their opinions and really their business models. I wasn't in the room when the decisions were being made. I just, just like everybody else, you hear the hearsay, and I kind of stay out of my owner's ear when it comes to that. My job is to do the X's and O's. But long story short, I think it would be advantageous someday to maybe see that happen, because once again, the IFL, being in the meetings that I was in, what a professional way they run this organization. And I have nothing bad to say about the CIF, because I feel there's some great people over there and great products. So I don't know if I'm answering the question, but it really becomes, I would sit them down in the room and really let's hammer this out someday. And maybe it makes sense to the fan base. It makes sense geographically and operationally.
Yeah, I mean, in situations like this, there can be a lot of ego that gets in the way. But you mentioned having just getting done with the league meeting for the IFL, and I know that that's kind of been a new thing for them. And I think it's something that, although probably overlooked by a lot of fans, it's something that definitely stands out from the rest of the leagues, as far as the commissioner and the owners wanting to put and show their best foot forward in giving fans, coaches, and players the best quality product that they can. So, whatever it was that happened over the offseason, you see the IFL have this gathering of coaches, owners, and referees once a year before the season starts, and you wonder, why can't we just do that for all the leagues that would like to participate and just get everything out on the table and see how we can make this happen? Because there's good and bad from both the IFL, the CIF, even the NAL, but I don't know why we can't just come to a middle ground and pick the best out from everything and give people the best of the best.
Well, you hope one day we'll be able to get that done. Right now I'm very happy with the decision we made, and I'm happy with what I saw out of our commissioner already, and having a chance to sit in the room with some what I consider legendary coaches. And, I'm very happy for our organization and where we're headed and being involved in the IFL.
And we're happy to have you. I'm looking forward to the matchups. I know that the season, we went from 10 teams down to 8. We got 2 new ones. Didn't break even like we did the previous year when we lost 2 and got 2. But, certain groups not being involved in the league anymore that let fans decide things and whatnot, being out is probably for the best. But we have 8 great teams. We have a 14-game schedule. No one will play each other more than twice. This is a request that a lot of fans, players, and coaches had last year, just to sort of help keep the parity in the league and make sure that we get some good, even competition. Personally, when I saw the schedule, I was ecstatic about it, because I think this, on paper, looks like it could be one of the best seasons the IFL has had.
Well, I'm excited with the fact that we came from our league last year, and we had to do whatever we had to do to make it work geographically as well. But playing a team 4 times and playing a team 3 times, it really doesn't do well, not just from an X and O standpoint, but just from a fan base. You start to lose some interest. And, fortunate for us, we have a great crowd over there, and the product was good. The games were exciting, so we were able to keep people interested. But I can tell you what, just seeing the current schedule we have, I've already heard people's excitement.
Yeah, and that's...
So I'm looking...
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
That's okay. I'm just looking forward to seeing where we go from here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great opportunity to see and showcase a lot of great talent that we have in the league. There's been some key signings to a lot of the different teams. Arizona is pretty stacked. Sioux Falls has made some moves. They've acquired some different quarterbacks now. And then, of course, Green Bay, always a good destination for players that want to get noticed because they're right there across the street from the Packers facility. But then I went to Bloomington last year, and I thought there was a great facility and market there. And, of course, you have the other teams. Iowa, always going to be very competitive. Cedar Rapids included in that. So I think it's going to be a very fun season. I don't know if there's going to be a team that stands out from the rest as far as a great team or a bad team. You definitely hope that that's not the case. But, how long have you been coaching, and what initially got you into coaching?
Well, really my coaching career started in the outdoors. I've been coaching Division III football, college football, for the last 10 years over at a small Division III school called Kalamazoo College. And then really about 3 years ago, I had the owner of the West Michigan Ironmen, Terrence Williams, reach out and ask me if I'd be interested in running the indoor football team over here in Muskegon. And lo and behold, that's what I did. And so I've been involved now with going on my third year with the indoor sport.
And, of course, then you have rookie head coach Nick Rude, who, like I said, was in the CIF with you last year. Last year you had to face Amir Ishmael. What do you expect for Nick Rude to bring to the table that you're already starting to prep for?
Well, Amir and I are good friends, so I'm going to kind of miss that rivalry him and I started. But, I'm wishing him well where he's at. But as far as Nick goes, he was already a very instrumental part of their success last year. I watched him. I think he carries himself with great poise. He was kind of the on-field guy at starting the end of last year, and I'm the defensive coordinator for us, so it was a matter of kind of trying to get inside of his mind, and I really, really think that I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do between him and I and building that rivalry even more.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great opportunity for you guys, and I actually had Amir on the show last night, and he had nothing but high praise for you guys from Bloomington and West Michigan. He said it was something that he'll probably miss as well, and he's going to go and take on this new challenge of being a head coach for an expansion team, and he's looking forward to that. So onward and upward, but you're in a league where, we see it at the professional level. It kind of is far and few between, but you take the opportunity for a young head coach like a Sean McVay to go up against maybe a Bill Belichick, somebody who is so well known and good at their craft. In this league, you have, a coach like Kevin Guy, who is just one of those names in the indoor and arena leagues. What is going to be sort of your feeling to take on the Rattlers for the first time?
Well, you kind of get around that atmosphere of success, and really you got two options. You can run and hide, or you can face it. And kind of my goal is I got to focus on us. I got to make sure that we're doing everything to prepare and understand that you're going against the Bill Belichick of the Arena League, and that means you got to be very much comfortable with who you are as a coach, not emulate anybody else. And that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to do our thing and go out to Arizona, and we're going to have an opportunity to see what we can do.
Now, in the CIF, you guys were all within very close proximity to each other. It was kind of the Midwest League. So when you have that and you have maybe one or two teams that kind of have that history and maybe stand out from the rest, like what's a sales pitch like to a player as far as coming to play for you? Or do you pretty much have in your Rolodex or contacts a core group of guys that will want to play for you, and they'll know other guys that would want to play for you as well?
Well, that's a great question. Really it's a combination of both. Having 10 years in the collegiate background, I was able to start off as an expansion team, and we built it through kind of the guys I knew and the guys they knew, and we were pretty successful. But I have to go out and recruit just like I have to do in college, and I treat it the same way. I tell them kind of, here's what we're going to be able to do for you as a player. Very upfront and honest with them, and then Secondly, here's what we're looking to do. We want to come in the IFL, and we're not coming in here just to show up and play 3 hours and go home. That's not the goal. Our goal is to come in there and every week go 1-0 and give the players an opportunity to showcase themselves so they can move up to the next level.
When it comes to coaching in a league like this, what's the biggest challenge as far as, let's say that there's a young player from any college level and they're intrigued by what the indoor league is, but they want to know how it can help them either in the next level or get to the next level. What's the best analogy you've used or way to explain it to them as far as what it can do for them?
Well, that's, really this game, if you start to look at it, and I'm scouting and I'm trying to figure out what these guys have for the next level, is the game is quick. It really is, for instance, offensive line, you're man on man, big on big, and you're really going to get a chance to show them your pass protection and how fast your feet are and how quick your punch is and, your leverage. When you're talking about the skill, you're in a shoebox having to cover and having to run routes that I think are precise. Quarterbacks have to be quick and accurate and have decision-making even more than they have to in the outdoor game. So it kind of, if I'm looking at it from a CFL team or NFL team, I'm seeing if someone can make their decisions and how athletic they are.
Okay. Now, as far as the individual positions go, in your mind, what would be like the most difficult to try to translate from one level to the next? Because I had Craig Peterson, a tenured kicker from the indoor game, on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how he went and tried out for a few NFL teams and then CFL teams. And he didn't play college ball, which is one thing, but he also mentioned that, when scouts look at a guy that came from the indoor league, they don't look at certain factors as much as they do others. They look at a kicker in the indoor league as being a guy who hasn't kicked in the elements because he's inside in a controlled environment, where they overlook the fact that, they're kicking through uprights that are half the size of, NFL uprights and how difficult that may be. But also you have kickoffs where, you guys are doing squib kicks or length of the arena kicks. Is there one position in particular that's probably the hardest to try to translate it from this level to another one?
Well, when I first came in, I kind of was the guy who said, okay, outdoors, these guys should be able to come in here and play and never should be a problem. Kicker, I agree with you. That is a tough spot because, you're still dealing with the indoor environment of no snow or rain, but the goalposts are not, as wide. I think that, there's some other parts of the arenas, depending on what arena you're in, play a factor. But other than that, I would probably tell you, I really think quarterbacks can't just come into this game and think they can play this. The spacing, the windows, the timing, all that come into play, and you got to make quick decisions here. I mean, it's 1.2 2 seconds, and you got to have a decision made. There's no room really to run around and create things like that. So that's just my view. I'm an offensive guy, but I would probably think it's a tougher role for a quarterback to make that transition.
Yeah, I understand completely. I think that, if I had to pick a position, I would say that quarterback is probably tougher. And that's because they get all the glory and the spotlight. All eyes are always on them. So it's kind of one that, it's make or break. But I appreciate your comments on that. What's next on the list for you between now and the season opener?
Well, we just got done with our college season, and I'm in the middle of recruiting. I'd love to tell you the next thing for me is to find a local bar and have a drink, but I don't have time.
There's always time. You got to make it, Coach.
Yeah. No, right now I'm just kind of trying to shore up the roster, getting our camp plans together. Even though we are not an expansion team, we are an expansion franchise in this league. So, I'm doing a lot of film watching. We're kind of breaking down teams right now to see what they're like, and we got to kind of already get ready in the mold of, we're going into a tough arena every time we go in, and I want our guys to be prepared. So we're in the middle of film sessions right now.
Yeah, that's good. Is there anything that is different as far as notable between the CIF and the IFL. I remember when I went and watched Amir and his Edge last year. That was the only CIF game that I watched in person, and there weren't really any differences that I could pick out personally as opposed to indoor football league rule.
No, the rules, I mean, there's a few small rules that, you got to adjust, like a running back in the CIF can't chop a blitzing linebacker, or in the IFL they can. But, they don't have a tight end in the IFL, so where in the CIF you can have one of your guards, declare and they can be eligible. So those are some small caveats. But really, other than that, the game is very similar. I do notice that there's a little bit more outdoor things that, take place in the IFL, like some RPOs, where in the CIF there wasn't as many RPOs, or at least we didn't face it as much. And I see a few teams doing that in the IFL.
Okay. Well, like I said, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of differences I saw, but it's always the subtle things, and it can be tough for coaches, either their first time in the league or first time with rule changes, because you want to really practice that disciplined football. But you guys know that there's going to be obstacles and you just got to overcome them, and you guys clearly have the job for a reason, so I have all the faith in you in the world, and I'm sure that your players clearly do. So it'll be exciting season to see this 2018, when February 25th we kick everything off. But if you've got a minute, there's a segment I do normally every Thursday, but I don't know if I'm going to have time to get to it tomorrow. And since I've got you on, I went head-to-head with Nick Rude last week, and he got the best of me, but I do a pick-em of the best 5 games of the NFL week.
Well, I'd love to.
All right, so let's take it from the top then here. We've got the first matchup that I'm particularly kind of excited about, more or less, just because I feel like this is going to determine the division winner. The LA Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Who do you like in this one, Coach?
It's funny. You would talk to me about 3 weeks into the season, I would have thought that, the Chiefs were going to be, one of the number one seeds, but
yep.
I would take the Chargers at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy how different teams can look from one point in the season to the next. Even if you break it up into quarters, the Chiefs were a completely different team from the first quarter to the midway point. So I agree. I think the Chargers will take that one. Kansas City would need to win it, but they haven't really been winning the games that they've needed to lately. The next one, the return of Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers will go to Carolina to take on the Panthers.
Well, I don't know if I do this with my head or my heart, seeing as I'm a Lions fan, and it's already hard enough. It's already hard enough being a Lions fan. But Aaron Rodgers being back, I think Russ will have to come off a little bit. But funny enough, I really believe Green Bay is going to win that game.
Yeah, and it was funny at the beginning of the show, I said that there's always a handful of teams that are currently in the playoff picture that all they have to do is win like 1 or 2 of their last 3 games to be in, and they'll lose just enough to be out to teams that aren't even in the picture, where Green Bay, they need to win out and they need all this other stuff to happen, and they'll go and do it, and it's an incredible miracle to happen. But I worry about Aaron Rodgers. Their luck may have run out, so I will go with Carolina on this one just because I worry that it might be too soon. But if anyone can do it, he can. So trust me, I believe you for siding with the Packers on that one. The LA Rams against the Seattle Seahawks for probably what will be the division winner and could determine who actually makes it into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough one. I'm really shocked how well the Rams have come about, and I keep waiting for them to, completely fall on their face. And I think right now they've got chemistry and working hard. And Seattle's a tough team. You just can't understand. You've got a lot of injuries, so I'm going to lean right now towards the Rams.
Yeah, it's. The Rams, man, they need it, and that loss to Philly was heartbreaking, especially because Carson Wentz is out for the season. But the Rams, they win the games that you don't expect them to, like against the Saints, and then they lose the ones that you think that they're going to pull out, like against the Eagles. But Seattle at home, knowing that it needs to win just to stay alive, that's tough to pick against. So I will go with the Seahawks on that, and maybe my jinx pick will continue for a third time this season of picking the Seahawks and then they lose. But we'll see how that one works. New England, Pittsburgh. This is probably the game of the week, maybe even the game of the season. Winner is going to be the number 1 seed, more than likely, in the AFC.
Got 2 great coaches, 2 great quarterbacks. They're definitely. You look at Pittsburgh and their running game, and they definitely have, I think, one of the best wide receivers that have played this game in a long time. You almost ask yourself, how do you go against Pittsburgh? But at the end of the day, it is Brady and it is Belichick, right? So right now, my thoughts are I would go with New England.
Yeah, and Brady hasn't played that well the last 2 weeks, and they lost to Miami. This, of course, all signs would point to them bouncing back because it's in one of these marquee games. But, man, the Steelers are scary good. Chris Boswell is their MVP. I don't care what anybody else says. That man, you put the game on his leg, and he will impress the hell out of you. So if it comes down to a kick, I'm very confident in Pittsburgh. I will actually take Pittsburgh in this. To take sole possession of the AFC in that race. And then the last game, Dallas and Oakland, both teams slim to none chances to make the playoffs, but this win will at least help. Who do you like?
Gosh, you got to ask yourself what Oakland is going to do, because they're one of those teams too. Dallas has had their struggles, but I'm going to say the Cowboys.
Yeah, and Raiders, I've got a lot of good Raider friends, and it was fun at the beginning of the season, and then they've kind of been back and forth. But Dallas, they just won't die, not quite yet, and they're right on the edge, and they could be one of those teams that sneaks in if everything goes right for them. So I agree. I think Dallas will probably take this one. Any game that Oakland has needed to win, they haven't, and this is one that they need to. So that leads me to believe that Dallas will probably take it. But one thing I wanted to ask you as a coach, you mentioned the Pittsburgh and the New England game, 2 great coaches, 2 great teams, but they're so different. The coaches are completely different personalities. As a coach yourself, does that make sense to you, or does one of them stick out? Like, how does this work?
Yeah, it's really strange. If you really look across the field, on any given game, it's very rare, I think, that you find 2 coaches that are alike, but still can be successful. So it to me, I mean, I look at, last year going across and looking at some of the coaches I had that have been in the game for a while, and they just coached differently than we did. But the success rate that they had versus how we played against them didn't change. So I think that Belichick is the guy that everybody's used to hearing about, and Tomlin is the guy that everybody's starting to hear about over the years.
Yeah, and they've definitely had great offensive weapons, and then guys that have done awesome jobs with the defensive coordinating there. So they've been 2 of the most competitive teams in the NFL. They're obviously doing something right. I worry about what'll happen with Pittsburgh when Big Ben decides to retire if they can't hang on to Le'Veon Bell, and then of course the same situation over in New England when Tom Brady finally retires, and if they ever lose some of their other key guys. They already got rid of Garoppolo, and as a Niners fan, I'm more than happy because he's 2-0 now, but the future is going to come.
That was a great move.
Future's going to come and happen.
Yeah, I think San Francisco got us still there, and I think he's going to be somebody that New England regrets giving away, even though Brady looks like he can go for another 5 years. But I think Garoppolo's going to be a quarterback that we hear about for a while.
Yeah, John Lynch for GM of the Year, if there is such an award. But, hey, Coach Lynk, you and me, we're going to, in 2018 in the offseason, we're going to get everyone that needs to be involved. We're going to try to make this merger happen. I'm going to host it, and you're going to go and bring the drinks and the snacks, and we're going to sit down. We're going to hammer this thing out.
It'll be the first time I can have a drink, so I'll take it.
All right, he is Coach Ty Lynk of the West Michigan Ironmen. Watch them on YouTube, as all the IFL games will be broadcast live from there once again this year. And that comes up end of February 2018. It's going to be a lot of fun in the Indoor Football League. Coach, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Once again, appreciate it, and I wish you the best and have a great holiday.
You as well. Thank you.
Bye now.
Oh, always great to get to know these guys. The merger almost happened. I heard that a lot, but hearing it from him, it really sounded like it was that close to happening. These leagues all offer something different, and good for them, but fans, they don't want to buy season tickets for 2 to 3 different teams, you know? They want to buy tickets for one team and be able to see all the others, right? So a merger came close to happening. I don't know if that means that it'll never happen because it came so close and didn't, or if all it needs is one more chance to be, and it will. But, you know, got to get through this season first before we start talking about that season, and that's okay, because I think with the way that these seasons are set up as far as the teams, the schedule, and everything, I could see there being some discussion midway through the season about, you know, we should have done that merge. We should have. And I'm not saying that comes from anything bad happening in the leagues. I think that there's going to be some really competitive football being played, and it's going to be something where they kick themselves like, man, if only we would have had this matchup or these guys in the league or whatnot. So egos aside, okay, let's be adults. Let's get together. The IFL has its annual league meeting. My God, you guys can all get together, the bigwigs, the head honchos, and talk this thing out. You're businessmen. Do what's best for business. Take this business model and these rules and these features and tweak this here and adjust here and crank it up to 11 and go. Merger. Indoor Football League. Champions Indoor Football League. National Arena League. I don't care who's involved. Let's do it. Let's make it happen for the fans, because this is the fan show and we do things for the fans. But back to wrestling really quick, and a big thank you again to Coach Ty Lynk. Went over what our scheduled time was for the segment, but I'm not complaining. I don't think he was either. It was a great time to talk. So wrestling, Clash of Champions this Sunday, WWE Network, and you can get that, and you'll get Clash of Champions for free, 30-day free trial. No, they don't pay me for this plug. It's just something that you need to know. A lot of people miss out on great wrestling events because they think it's too expensive. And I always push the WWE Network because the NFL needs to catch on to how we can consume football easier. And I know I've said this on the show before, but in all honesty, it frustrates the hell out of me. It really does. Example. Okay. Monday Night Football is on ESPN, which I don't want anything to do with ESPN because I don't like them, but it's the most convenient for fantasy. Everybody does ESPN fantasy football, so okay, I download the app, blah, blah, blah. But their programs, their radio, ugh. I can't avoid them any more than I already do. So when it comes time for Monday Night Football, unless it's a match that I really want to see, I won't watch. I don't like ESPN that much that even though there's nothing else going on, and yeah, I mean that because some of you are saying, well, you just tune into Monday Night Raw. No, I'm on the West Coast and I have cable, which means I don't get the East Coast time showing at 5 p.m., which would be the same time as Monday Night Football. No, I have to wait 3 hours, stay off Twitter if I want to avoid spoilers, and then I watch it at 8 o'clock, which that's when there's only about 30 minutes left of NFL football on Monday night. So if there's a game that I'm not interested, I don't watch it. Like if I don't have any kind of vested interest, even if I have fantasy players, if I'm not interested, I won't watch it. But you have Monday Night Football on ESPN. If I was driving somewhere during the game, I can't tune into ESPN radio and hear the commentary of the game for Monday Night Football on ESPN radio. It's the most frustrating thing. If you tune in to ESPN radio on Sundays, you get highlight radio. You don't even get a game in your area or the featured game like you do at home with cable. If you're a fan of a team outside your market, you know, you don't get like the next best game or the featured game. It's infuriating. It really is. Why is it so hard to consume football? But the NFL is going to NFL, and Roger Goodell is back for 5 more years. That's right. Think about that. Wrestling. We were talking about wrestling. AJ Styles had a weird segment last night with the Singh brothers and Jinder Mahal. NXT makes its cable television debut tonight. That should be exciting. I'm still doing the binge watching thing, and I'm loving it. I really am, because I missed more NXT than I realized when I wasn't really watching wrestling. I was keeping up, but I wasn't watching it. And all these names would pop up in the main events and stuff, and I didn't realize where they got started or that they were NXT first. And I didn't even realize what NXT evolved into, because I just remember the first 4 seasons of it, which were terrible. But man, binge watching, I'm at the point where Charlotte just made her debut. They've crowned the first NXT Women's Champion, which was Paige. And so now I kind of get the Paige hype. She had an article, or an article recapping her interview with Lillian Garcia. And look, okay, people make mistakes. I get it. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's just some mistakes that people make that I go, like, really? Like, of all the mistakes that a person can make, like, that's the one, you know? Who wants to film that? Like, who says, hey, let's film this? Leaked photos, I get. But leaked video, that's like your own damn problem. So, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for her, but people like her. Roman Reigns is a smoke and mirrors guy. I watched every second of that him versus Cesaro match for the Intercontinental title. Cesaro carried him the whole match. Roman Reigns has become Brock Lesnar in the fact that the opponent will carry them for 15 minutes. And it will look like it's a great match. But in reality, the opponent is doing all the offense, and Roman just keeps getting back up, trying to counter, and will every once in a while, but mounts no offense until the opponent does a signature move and a finisher. Roman happens to, kick out, like nobody ever does that, and then he will mount 5 minutes of offense, maybe, hit one finisher, and it's over. And that frustrates me, because that's not how AJ Styles wrestles. He does offense all the time. He's doing 50-50 with the guy that he's in the ring with, if not more, because he's just that good. Cesaro, that good. Sheamus, that good. Usos, that good. Roman Reigns, not that good. 2018 is going to have, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. All signs are pointing to Roman getting the title from Brock. Why? I don't know. But I think that is going to probably do it for the fan show on this Wednesday night. A big thanks to Ty Lynk. Don't forget Clash of Champions this Sunday, NXT tonight. Tomorrow is WWE's tribute to the troops. NHL, NBA. There was a LeVar Ball and Spike Lee thing last night, I guess. I don't know. I don't care about LeVar Ball, but it was trending on my Twitter, which follow me at FanShowOfficial. Like me on Facebook, facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. Check out the Snapchat and Instagram. Both are The Fan Show. And then, of course, your home base for all things football and nonsense is thefanshow.com. Teespring.com/thefanshow is where you can place your order for some Team Fan Show merch. 10% is donated to Toys for Tots. December is Toys for Tots month with the Fan Show merchandise. So help a good cause, support the show, and get a great gift for the fan in your life at teespring.com/thefanshow. And of course, if you missed any of tonight's episode, you can hear them in podcast form on iTunes, SoundCloud, or iHeartRadio, where the Fan Show is available in podcast form. If you are able to listen live, then by all means, tune in on thefanshow.com/listen live, or Spreaker.com, where I broadcast to you from within the comfy confines of Fan Cave Studio. And you can catch replays of the show at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific, WBLZ Sports, because they've got balls. And so with that, don't forget, order your Undisputed Championship belt from UndisputedBelts.com. They are busy. Just got an email from the guys last night. They are slammed. You want to get that order in. either a ring. They've got 4 great designs. They've got some cookie cutter pre-made designs for belts as well. And of course, they can customize your belt too. If you send them in those images, do it now. They're a proud partner of the F.A.N show. I can't thank them enough for all that they've done for the show, and they are some of the best in the biz. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the F.A.N show.